and welcome to our first virtual yoga practice. So I read a quote recently that said, you can either do it imperfectly and have it done, or have it perfect and never start it. So with that in mind, here I am doing this. May not be perfect, but it's ours, and let's just embrace that. So we'll start our practice as we normally do, with a tall spine, hands gently resting on the thighs, elbows weighing the shoulder mounds down, back of the neck long, chin tucked in, and connecting with your breath. Feeling the wave of breath come through you on every inhale and exhale, coming in through your nostrils, down to your abdomen, and back up and out again. With every inhale, feeling the crown of your head rising up toward the ceiling, and with every exhale, settling, feeling the contact of your lower body against the mat. Taking time in this tuning in to set aside your planning or reviewing of your day and allowing yourself to be present, body, mind, and breath in your yoga practice for the next hour. When you're ready, we'll bring hands to heart center and begin our class with a namaste. So starting our warm-ups, hands on the knees. On an inhale, rising the eyes to the ceiling, and on an exhale, bringing the eyes down to the ground. Inhaling to rise the eyes up, and exhaling to lower. Inhaling to rise, exhaling to lower. The next time, inhaling to roll the right ear to the right shoulder, and exhale back down to center. Inhaling left ear to the left shoulder, exhaling back down to center. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhaling up and down. And going through a couple more of these semicircles at your own pace with your own breath. And then when you're ready, bringing your eyes forward, coming back to center. Taking the hands off of the knees on an inhale, we'll sweep our fingers forward, reaching out and up, and exhaling, lowering down. Inhaling, sweeping up. Exhaling, rotating the wrists, floating the arms down. Inhaling, sweeping up and out, stretching the side bodies. And exhaling to let the arms float down, shoulders are soft. We'll inhale up, and this time we will bring left hand to the right knee, coming to a gentle twist. We'll inhale here and exhale back through center. Exhaling, left hand coming down, right hand coming to left knee, twisting to the left. Inhaling and exhaling to the right. Inhaling up and exhaling to the left. Inhaling up, and this time floating the right hand to the right hip, taking a lateral stretch. Fingers over to the right side. We'll inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale over. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up and exhale over. Inhaling up, we'll exhale and float our hands down, coming to hands and knees for our cat and cow. So knees hip width apart, Hands under the shoulders, fingers wide, anchoring through the palms. Inhaling down to cow and exhaling to cat. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Coming back to a flat back, anchoring down through the left hand, and we're taking the right hand off the mat, sliding it to that space underneath our left armpit as we slide it along the ground, bringing our right shoulder to the mat. The side of your head can come down to the mat, or perhaps your forehead, depending on what feels best for you. Tail high up in the air. Spending a couple of breaths here. On our next inhale, we'll rise back up, planting our right hand and sliding our left hand along the floor, dropping down our left shoulder. Taking one more breath here, and sliding our left fingers back, rounding our spine once more, tucking the toes, and on an inhale, lifting the tailbone up to the ceiling, stretching out the back of the legs, planting the feet on the floor, and slowly rolling up with control, one vertebra at a time. Head will be the last thing to come up. And we will rise arms up overhead and bring our hands down to heart center, getting ready for our sun salutations. Up at the front of our mat for our sun salutations, adjusting. I seem to be adjusting a lot today, probably because I'm on camera. We'll start with the Bahar sun salutations. So we'll inhale, arms up overhead, exhaling, taking a little bit of a back bend. Inhaling to rise and exhaling forward fold. Stepping our right foot back, dropping the right knee, low lunge. We're inhaling, arms up overhead, coming back, coming forward, planting the hands, and stepping back to down dog. From down dog, gliding through to plank, dropping the knees, flattening the feet, coming to our 8-point salute, and then sliding the legs back, coming up to cobra, exhaling back down, tucking up to down dog, right foot through for high lunge, left knee down, arms up and back, arms up and forward, taking a forward fold, inhaling to reach up and back, exhaling up and hands down to heart center. Taking the other side, inhaling up, exhaling forward fold. Stepping the left foot back, left knee down, arms up and back, arms up and forward, stepping back to down dog. Gliding through to plank. Lowering knees, flattening feet, lowering down for 8-point salute. Sliding the hips out, rising up for cobra. Lowering back down, up to down dog. Left foot forward, right knee down. Inhaling up and back. Exhaling up and forward, coming to forward fold. Reaching out and up and back, up and hands to heart center. Doing this one more time on each side. Inhaling up and back, up and forward. Right foot back, right knee down, arms up and back, up and forward through high lunge to down dog. Gliding forward. Coming to the knees, flattening the feet, 8-point salute. rising up and lowering back down. Tucking up to down dog. Right foot forward, left knee down. Reaching out and back. Up and forward, through high lunge to forward fold. Reaching up and back. Up and hands down to heart center. Taking one more round after we adjust. Inhaling up and back. Up and forward. Left foot back. Left knee down. Coming up and forward and back. Up and forward through high lunge to down dog. Gliding forward for plank. Flattening the feet, lowering the knees. 8-point salute. Dropping the hips, rising up for cobra. Coming back down, tucking the toes, rising up to down dog. Left foot forward, right knee down. Sweeping arms up and back, up and forward, tucking the back toe, coming to forward fold and reaching up and back, up and forward. Hands at our heart center, feeling your breath on your fingers. From here, we'll take a forward fold. So inhaling, arms up overhead, and exhaling deeply forward folding if your hamstrings are tight. Bending your knees slightly, taking your forward fold here, and breathing. With every exhale, feeling your forward fold deepening, feeling the backs of your legs opening up. From here in our forward fold, with our feet hip distance apart, we'll rise up for chair. Taking 3 breaths in chair. After our 3rd breath, bringing hands to heart center. Bringing our left elbow to our right knee. Checking your knees to make sure they're lined up. And getting your elbow established, looking over to the right. And breathing here for 3 breaths. After your 3rd breath, bringing your gaze back down to the ground, looking at the front of your mat, anchored down through your right foot and stepping your left foot back for high lunge. And we'll return our gaze over again to the right. High on the ball of your back foot. From here, we'll come back to center, bringing our hands down to high lunge. Placing our left hand on the inside of our front foot and floating up our right fingertips. Holding here for 3 breaths. After the 3rd breath, floating down the right fingers to the outside of the right foot, anchoring the forearm against the leg as we float up the left fingers. Floating down the left fingers, and we're going to walk our feet around, so we're coming to a wide-legged forward fold. Feet are wide, hands are out in front. Thinking about the backs of your legs, they've got a bit of a wiggle to them. Take a few folds here. So we'll start with a flat back, hands out in front. Shoulder blades melting down the back body. After our 3rd breath, we'll walk our hands a little bit closer in line with our feet and lower our head down toward the mat. Elbows slightly bent. Your weight evenly distributed through your hands and feet.
We'll inhale to rise back up, bringing our hands forward. Walking our hands over to our left foot, hugging onto the back of our calf, and bringing our head down towards our left shin. After your last breath, bringing your hands back to center, and we'll walk now over to the right foot, hugging on to the back of our right calf, bringing our forehead down towards our right shin. And breathing here. After your third breath, bringing your hands out in front again, we're going to pivot around so we're facing the front of our mat again, back in high lunge. We'll step our left foot forward and our right foot back. Rising up. Hands to heart center. Bringing both of our feet together, feet apart, hip distance, getting ready to take our chair on the other side. So we'll inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale down to our chair. Making sure your knees are aligned with your thigh bones. From our chair, bringing hands to heart center. And we'll bring our right elbow over onto our left thigh, making sure our knees and hips are even before we bring our gaze over to the left. Shoulders are relaxed. 3 more breaths here. After your third breath round, bringing your gaze down to the floor and stepping back your right foot for high lunge. Slowly bringing your gaze back over to the left. On an inhale, we'll come back through center, draping our hands down on either side of our front foot. Planting our right hand on the inside, floating up the left fingers. Exhaling down the left fingers to the outside of the left foot. Forearm and shin are nudged against each other for balance as we rise up the right fingers. After the 5th breath, we'll bring our fingers back down, straighten up our legs, and we'll start to pivot our toes so we're taking a wide-legged forward fold on the other side this time. Starting with a flat back, feeling that pelvic bowl shifting away from you, tailbone up towards the ceiling, the knees have a bit of a wiggle quality to them. Breathing here. On your next breath, walking hands closer in line with the feet, lowering the crown of the head down towards the ground, finding your balance between your hands and your feet. Breathing fluidly, smoothly, softly. Slowly beginning to walking your hands forward again for a flat back. We'll walk our hands over to the right, hugging the back of our right calf and bringing our forehead towards our shin. And then we'll bring our hands out in front again, walking over to the left. Hugging the back of our left shin, bringing our forehead towards our shin. After this, we're bringing our hands down, We're starting to pivot our toes, so we're coming back into a high lunge again at the front of the mat. We'll step our feet together and heel toe our feet out slightly as wide as the mat as we come down into a squat. So in our squat, our tail is down towards the ground, our spine is long, we're nudging the insides of our knees, hands at heart center, breathing. And then we're going to take a little bit of a twist here. So we're anchoring down our left hand, and we're going to reach out our right hand up and slightly behind, creating that diagonal line across the shoulders. We'll come back to center, bringing our right hand down and floating up our left hand back and at a diagonal. If you are rolling in towards your inner feet, thinking about bringing your weight to the outside of your feet. Lots to think about here. And from here, we'll come back to center and mercifully drop our tushies down to the ground and come to cobbler pose. Feet out in front, soles of the feet nestle together, tall through the spine. And just taking a moment to be realistic with where your hips and your knees are. And your feet can be out slightly ahead of you in more of a diamond shape. Or if your hips are feeling pretty loosey-goosey by now, you can perhaps walk your heels back a little closer to your body. Just making sure you have that long spine. Taking a couple more breaths just in cobbler, feeling our shoulder blades settle down. And from here, we're going to begin coming forward with a flat back. So spider, walking your fingers forward when you start to feel a stretch in your hips, in that joint between where your hips and your legs are, your hip crease, planting those hands down and just staying here and breathing for 5 breaths. After the 5th breath, walking your hands a little bit further forward. It may just be a centimeter. Doesn't really matter. Just advancing forward a little bit more, keeping with your flat back and breathing here for 5 breaths. Face is relaxed, shoulders relaxed. Thinking about the knees falling to the ground. Wherever your hands are right now, we're going to walk our hands over to the left. And you'll feel a gentle pull along the back side of your body. And we'll just stay here for 5 breaths. Really settling into the twist. Enjoying that stretch along our back ribs. After the 5th breath, we'll come back through center and walk our hands over to the right. Breathing here. Coming back to center. Getting our hands flat against the ground and beginning to round over into our cobbler now. Just doing a little bit deeper hip work, rounding the upper back, forehead towards the toes, letting the crown of the head face the floor, chin tucked in, and just letting gravity do the work. After the 5th breath, keeping your body where it is, bringing your hands back behind you by your hips, pushing through your fingertips to begin unfurling your spine, stacking it up one vertebra at a time until you're up to sitting. Hands under the knees, we're gently closing the knees like we're closing a big book. We'll slide out our right heel and then our left. Give our legs a little bit of a jiggle, and we'll make our way down to our backs. So on our backs, knees are bent, feet are as wide as the mat, hands are by our sides, or they can be out at shoulder height along the floor, palms up, just to let your shoulders sink down. Or you may want to make a basket for your head with your hands, just elbows back on the floor. Just rocking our hips back from side to side. So we'll inhale at center, exhale dropping to the left. Inhaling up, exhaling to the right. Inhaling up, exhaling to the left. Inhaling up, exhaling to the right. Inhaling up over to the left. And inhaling up and coming back to center. We are now going to extend out our left leg along the floor and bring the sole of our right foot onto our left thigh. Reaching up with our left hand, we'll draw that knee across the body as we take a twist. Breathing, settling both shoulders on the mat. Staying here for 5 breath rounds. After the 5th breath round, rising back to center. Taking the right foot off of the left leg and sliding the right heel out on the floor. This time bringing the left foot onto the right thigh, reaching up with the right hand and drawing the knee across the body over to the right. Staying here for 5 breath rounds. And again, surrendering to gravity. We're not pulling the knee down to the ground, we're just letting it fall as the muscles along the outside of our legs begin to release and lengthen. On our next inhale, we'll bring our knee back to center, foot off the floor, sliding that leg out as well, keeping it extended. Just taking a moment with legs extended to feel the opening in the hip area. And we'll do a little bit of hamstring stretching now. So bringing the right toes up to the ceiling and holding on behind the leg, either behind the thigh or behind the calf. We're rising head and shoulders up off the floor. You can float that left leg with toes pointed just above the ground. Feeling that stretch, bringing the back of the right knee towards straight as much as is comfortable. Breathing, smiling. We'll take an inhale here. On an exhale, left leg comes up, right leg comes down. Inhaling, switching to the right. And inhaling, switching to the left. Bringing both legs up, lowering the head and shoulders down to the ground, bending the knees and bringing the feet down. Sliding out the left leg, gathering the right knee into the chest and holding on with the right hand. Our left hand can be behind our head.
You can be out along the floor. On an inhale, we're opening up the knee to the right. On an exhale, we're coming back to center. Inhaling to open. Exhaling to center. Inhaling to open. Exhaling to center. Inhaling to open and staying here for 3 breaths. Again, surrendering to gravity. Inhaling, coming back to center. Reaching up with the right hand, and we'll take half happy baby. So bringing the right knee toward the armpit, sole of the right foot up to the ceiling. Our right shoulder is heavy and weighted down towards the ground. And our left leg is extended out, toes pointed. Taking 5 breaths here. After the 5th breath, releasing the foot, extending the right leg out, and floating it with control down to the ground. Toes pointed, long through the leg. Once your right foot lands on the ground, we'll gather in the left knee to the chest, holding on with the left hand. Right hand can be out by the side. On an inhale, we'll open up. And on an exhale, bring the knee back to center. Inhale to open up. Exhale to bring the knee back to center. Inhale to open up. Exhale, bring the knee back to center. This time opening up, and we're staying here for 5 breaths. Letting your left shoulder soften. Your left knee just draping down towards the ground. After your 5th breath, bringing the knee back to the chest, we'll reach up with the left hand, holding onto the sole of the foot. Bring the knee to the armpit, the sole of the foot up to the floor as we take happy baby on the other side. After your 5th breath, releasing the foot, toes up to the ceiling, and we're floating that leg down to the ground with control. Bringing arms overhead, toes are pointed, and we're just gently feeling the length of our body, not actively stretching. We're just having our arms relaxed over our head. Feeling the length from our fingertips down to our toes. And from here, we will get ready for Shavasana. So taking your time, getting yourself warm, putting on your socks, and grabbing your blanket. Once you're in your Shavasana position, feet gently falling away from each other, palms by your sides, fingers gently curling up towards your palm, shoulders anchoring down on the floor. Just begin to once again bring your awareness to your breath. With every inhale, feeling your chest rise as though it's floating up to the ceiling. With every exhale, feeling the back of your body melting into the mat. As you lie in your Shavasana, cultivating your stillness, feel that contrast between your body
settling in, and the energy that's flowing through you. It's almost like an extra blanket floating slightly above you. Your muscles begin to soften, and your bones begin to feel heavy. Bringing that awareness of stillness and relaxation all the way from the soles of your feet up towards the crown of your head. Through your feet and legs, through your torso, through your arms and hands and fingers, through your head and neck. Bringing a special awareness to your head. Feeling the muscles along the side of your neck softening. Bringing awareness to your jawline. Bringing the back teeth slightly apart from each other to soften your jawline. Letting your tongue rest softly in your mouth. Softening the muscles around your mouth, around your nose, around your eyes. Letting your eyeballs rest deeply away from your eyelids, deep in their sockets. Allowing them to feel like delicate eggs resting in tiny nests. Feeling the muscles across your forehead smooth. And feeling your face become soft and expressionless. Feeling your scalp relax. Any tension that we're harboring in those muscles that hold our skin onto our head is releasing as our muscles soften with every breath. Breathing here. If your mind begins to wander off the mat, gently acknowledging your thoughts and bringing your attention back to your soft breath and soft body. Luxuriating in this posture of non-doing. Just allowing yourself to be in your beingness. Taking one final breath in your Shavasana. And gently beginning to rock your head back from side to side. Wiggling fingers and wiggling toes. And here you have a choice. You can remain in your Shavasana. Remain in this stillness for a time that your body dictates. Not on my time schedule, but on your own. Staying here for a few more moments. Or perhaps making your way over to your right side. Gathering yourself up in a ball and staying here for a few breath rounds. If you choose to remain here, I wish you a namaste. If you choose to slowly make your way up to sitting, anchoring down your left hand by your right shoulder, gently rising yourself up. Head's the last thing to come up. Coming back to your tall spine. Thank you for your patience and your adventure in sharing this first visual grace and joy yoga practice with me today, Yogini. Thank you for your magnificence. Namaste.